Okay, I don't know about you, but I think spring is almost here, so it's time to look at some plans for the garden. So we've got the picket fence up last year, and we ended up with a big veg garden, but I don't think we really need that much. So I'm going to move all the veg to one side, move the raised beds over there, and that'll free up some space for other projects. I need to take down one of the Leylandi trees, which will allow me to get that shed in behind there. There's just about enough space. And then where the other hedge is on the left, I'm going to put up the fence that's fallen down behind it above the wall and take out a lot of that hedge. That'll allow me to get a greenhouse in there. There's another 6 foot of land behind that hedge, so we can get a much longer building there, create a greenhouse from some reclaimed timber and windows I've saved from the house. Then there's this kind of messy bit on the left there. I'm going to put the chicken houses there, clear all that off and put some hard standing down, and that will keep things nice and self-contained with some fencing for them, so that it'll be poultry on the left, veg on the right, and some compost bins and storage in the corner. So this is kind of what I'm aiming for. We'll put everything into one area, so the birds will be in there, the veg will be in there, the fruit will be in there, and it'll be like a little self-contained mini backyard and farm. The chickens will go into there, we'll get a few more layers, and also I'm going to split that run, get some meat birds on the other side. So that'll give us a nice kind of selection of produce from such a small area, and we'll just focus on a few crops this year. Ones that we know we'll save money on, ones that we'll enjoy, and not try and spread ourselves too thin. But anyway, back to reality and back to the digging. So you can see grass seeds have sown themselves, and the whole place is just matted with weeds and grass. And I just wanted to clear it, start from scratch. So I broke up all this, took away all the turf, and remember, anything like the weeds and the turf can all be thrown onto the chicken side and they'll sort that out. So I'm kind of using them like a little compost generation plant. So then I wanted to move these raised beds. I did half lap corners on these when I built them 3 years ago. I don't really need to do raised beds over the other side, but I think I'll keep one kind of section of raised beds, so I'm going to stack these on each other to give us a bit more depth and just something a bit more accessible for the girls. So there's a few volunteer garlic there which we tried to rescue. I don't know if they'll come to anything, but I took that second raised bed off and cut their legs, the kind of stakes in the corners down a little bit, and they actually then fit inside the other one, which located it to give us a kind of double depth. So that was levelled out, staked and screwed in to some heavy, kind of much heavier duty stakes to hold it secure, and then topped it up to free up that other bed on the left, which that was moved as well. Then we had this temporary sort of raised bed from the strawberries, and that had overgrown. There were a handful of strawberry plants in there, and Eden was so sure that she wanted to plant strawberries. I said I'd try and rescue a few of the little kind of runners from there and any of the old plants, and we'll see if they come to anything. But there was a selection of like weeds and wild strawberries and all sorts getting in there, so we'll just leave that, and that can be scratched over by the chickens. So there's a load of soil to move. We've got all the nice compost which we've built up over the last few years in the raised beds, and we wanted to save that as best we can. So we'll go for a really rich compost filled raised bed on the left now. So we put all of the compost into there. And then you can see here there's some of the weed matting, which, believe it or not, there were paths here around the raised beds which you can't really make out anymore, but that all needed to come up as well. So in the foreground here you can see all these roots and brambles and all sorts, so kind of matted together. I had to really chip and dig that out. Didn't want to dig up any of the apple tree roots, but all the brambles had to come out, and we're just infested with bindweed here. You can see all these little white bits of spaghetti, but those roots sprout into new weeds, so all of that just had to be picked through by hand and put onto the bonfire. We're still dealing with a bit of a chicken phobia with our youngest here, but we're getting there. So that's as far as we got with our little family afternoon of gardening. Just trying to clear out and get a bit of a blank canvas to start with. So why do I go to all this effort in the garden when we've got shops nearby and there's loads to do in the house? Well, it's kind of moments like these. When I look back over the last 3 years, these have been some of the highlights. You know, it brings the family together, it's healthier, it saves money sometimes, and it's just a really good way to spend the summer. You know, everything's changing, the seasons are changing, and you really feel like you've achieved something, you know, where you can put a meal together from your own produce. So that's the plan, and hopefully this year we can be a little bit more productive and efficient with the space we've got. So thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to watch all of these videos throughout the summer, and remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.